Welcome to the Cell Soul Source podcast, where you can expect conversations about the Akashic Records and how to rewrite your limiting beliefs so you can finally be free and prosperous. Discover your energy bodies as the communication system between your human, your higher self, and the field. This is otherworldly energetics made practical to shift your reality. Your divine inheritance of having your earthly needs met and receiving all of your heart's desires starts now. Welcome to another episode of the podcast, where today we are talking about probably my favorite subject, and that is the Akashic Records. But not only that, how can we start to use the Akashic Records so that we can enjoy the happiness and the prosperity that we came here to experience? So I'll kick us off by explaining what the Akashic Records are for those who don't know, and then we'll dive deeper into some of the ways that we can work with the Akashic Records more specifically. Now, Akasha is a Sanskrit word that means spirit or space. So when you think about the space between us, it's not nothing. It is a field of information. Sometimes it's called the Akashic field. And it stores everything. Every single happening is stored on the fabric of space. Every single consciousness has got its own Akashic Records. So we're not just talking people and animals. We're talking people, animals, plants, businesses, buildings. Everything that has a consciousness has its own Akashic Records. And everything that has happened with that consciousness from the beginning of time through all time and space is recorded in the Akashic Records. So when we're talking about people, we are generally talking about every thought, every action, every movement, every intention is stored in their Akashic Records. And if you think about it, it's stored as a vibration, as an energy through waves. The sound of my voice creates a vibration, creates a wave in the field, and that creates an energetic impression in the Akashic field, in your Akashic Records. So when I am working with the Akashic Records, if you imagine that amount of information, it would be way, way too much. It would be like shoving loads of stuff inside a cupboard for years and years and years, and then opening that cupboard and it all just falls out. That is not helpful in any way. So when I'm working with the Akashic Records, or when anybody is working with the records, your guides, my guides, guides that work with the records are working to filter that information and distill it down into something that is useful in this present moment. So something that is useful for you to know, something that you're ready to work through, something that you're ready to rewrite in this moment. So to date, yes, I have been in the records of planets and my home and businesses, and obviously people, animals. So that is all really exciting. But how does that help us in this lifetime become more happy and more prosperous? I have been in and around human bodies for over 20 years. I absolutely love the human body. I've always been fascinated, and I've just made the pilgrimage further and further into the human body. So I started on the outside with the physical body, and I've just gone further and further in until, I learned about the energetics and the emotional component. And then I went all the way in until I met the consciousness component. So your body and your energy field carries all sorts of limiting beliefs that you are completely unaware of. They are outside of your conscious awareness. They happened usually at a time that you don't remember. Usually the incident or the event was so innocuous, nobody bothered to tell you about it. But all of these subconscious beliefs are living in your body and your energy field, and they are influencing every aspect of your life. So we can be forgiven for thinking it's just how we are, and it's just our personality, or it's just how life is. But it's really these subconscious beliefs that are creating the stress and the scarcity, the lack, the doubt. And we are completely unaware that that is something that we can change. Until the moment you decide that you want something different for yourself. So whatever your desire is, the moment you decide that you are going to allow yourself to experience that, that is when you start to open up and realize, oh, okay, this is something that I really want to experience. I really want to be happy and have money at the same time. I don't want to sacrifice my happiness in order to have money, and I don't want to be happy and sacrifice the fact that I have any money. And once you decide that, you start to realize, oh, okay, well, why do I believe that I can't have money and be happy at the same time? You start to ask those kinds of questions. You start asking, why is this so hard? Did I really just come here to struggle, retire, enjoy a few years? It just can't be what I signed up for. There has to be an easier way. And thankfully, the Akashic Records have stored all of this. They know why you are a warrior. You were not born a warrior. This is something that you encoded along the way. The Akashic Records knows why you are a people pleaser. Again, you weren't born a people pleaser, but something in your body or your energy field is making you overgive, whether you want to or not. It feels like you don't actually have any control over it. The Akashic Records knows why you have a crippling lack of self-belief. They know why you work so hard and yet your bank account doesn't seem to reflect that. You don't remember encoding any of these beliefs. You don't remember encoding people like us just aren't meant to make money, or I'm not good enough. Or maybe you've encoded success means more pressure or more responsibility. Somewhere you have a fear of being misunderstood, or your body remembers the shame of, being ridiculed or not living up to expectations. You're not consciously thinking these, but your body remembers them. When people come to me, they usually have some kind of desire and they feel blocked in some kind of way. So most people that I see are not new to this rodeo. They have some understanding of energetics. They have some understanding of their body. They have some understanding of maybe the chakra system. But putting that into practice in their daily life, they're just missing that one little jigsaw piece that helps them put those two things together. Or sometimes they'll notice a repeating pattern, but they can't seem to get to the root of it themselves. So maybe they want to rewrite their relationship with their body, or some kind of discomfort they have, some kind of symptom that's reoccurring. Or they want to rewrite their relationship with their business, or with money, or with their self-worth, or with their boundaries. And they've tried all the normal things. They've tried the journaling and the affirmations and the standard nervous system work. But, they're beyond the basics, and those things didn't really help. And so they know there's something deeper. There's a deeper root in their body that they're ready to rewrite. So when I open somebody's Akashic Records, and obviously this is different for every single reader, but when I open somebody's Akashic Records, I am what's called clairsentient. So my body will take on the shape of the person in front of me. I will know, their posture. I will know their breathing rate, their heart rate, what it feels like to be inside their body. And particularly when I was helping people resolve symptoms, it was particularly helpful because I could describe those symptoms back to them. And when you have discomfort, it's very difficult to describe. So when somebody can describe it back to you, it's super helpful. And then I'll generally get some kind of sensation in my body, and I know that that is what we're ready to rewrite. And I'll just start asking questions, what's at the root of this? What is this about? When did it start? What was encoded at that time? So some people, when they work with the records, will do a lot of past life stuff. Some people will do a lot of soul contract work. I do a lot of belief system work, just finding the belief systems that are hiding in your body and blocking you from experiencing that desire that you want to experience next in your life. And once we can start to find these, the more of these we can clear out, the more space you create in your body. The more you become a clear vessel that can now hold the happiness, hold the prosperity that you are desperately trying to call in. You might be consciously repeating the mantra, I am prosperous. I was doing this for ages. I was repeating, I am prosperous. But subconsciously, my body was going, nope. Don't you remember, people like us don't make money? Don't you remember, success means more pressure? Don't you remember the last time you made big money and how stressful that was? We don't want to do that again. We don't want that kind of, responsibility again. So consciously what you're doing and subconsciously what your body's thinking are two different stories. And that's why it's key to find where these beliefs are hiding in your body. And that's why I use the energy bodies. And then going into the Akashic Records is easier because we already know kind of half the story. We already know roughly what we're looking for, and it just makes the work in the records a lot faster. So when I started using the Akashic Records, I used to find these beliefs and I used to transmute them. So I used to dissolve them. And that used to get really, really good results. But then I started practicing with rewriting. I started rewriting those belief systems, and that became like finding a bit of viral code that was repeating, or for those of you who are more medically minded, it was kind of like a genetic sequence that was mutated and it was just repeating. And you could go and find that piece of code and you could rewrite it. And you could replace it with something that did support your desires, that did support what you wanted to experience next in your life. And when I started doing that, then those results became extraordinary. They were a lot faster. They were a lot more transformative. And obviously I started with myself and then found the same for clients. And because I want you to experience your highest potential, I want you to experience the best, the most. I want you to be the happiest and most prosperous possible. And I want to do that in a faster time than I ever could. So I actually don't just offer single Akashic record readings, because I want to spend the next 5 days with you using the energy body method so that we can really integrate the shift that just happened in the records. Because when you move and speak and think and breathe and feel and make your decisions from the same place, going in the same direction. When all of your energy bodies are coherent, it creates a really strong signal that broadcasts out into the field so that the field can bring you your desires a lot faster. So then I started to see those results happening a lot faster. So that's why it's the shortest container I offer is a reading plus 5 days in Telegram, so that I can help you and support you to integrate this as fast as possible. So DM me any questions you have about the Akashic Records, because this was just a starting point, because people want to know wildly different things about the Akashic Records. But that is generally how I use them along with the human body so that you can reach your highest potential. The ultimate goal for me is for you to remember your own divinity. And the more we can clear out these beliefs that tell you you're not divine, the more your divinity can drop in. The more space you create in your human vessel to hold your higher self, so that you can be fully human, enjoying all the earthly blessings, and fully divine, receiving, all of your heart's desires. That is the ultimate goal. That is really why we bother clearing out these beliefs, because it makes space for you to meet more of yourself. And you are divine. You are holy, you are pure, you are innocent. You just can't feel it because at the moment you're covered with all these layers of beliefs and conditioning and things that you learned and things that were modeled, but they're not actually true and they're not actually yours. So that is why I have spent the last few years making it my mission to learn how to find them, learn how to rewrite them, share it with people so that we can all bring heaven to earth through our human bodies. It is something that happens through your human bodies. So DM me your questions on Instagram. And as always, I look forward to connecting with you in the next podcast. If this episode spoke to you, please follow, review, and share until every man, woman, and child remembers their own sovereign divinity. I'm rooting for you. We rise together.